You're listening to Brainy Founder Podcast. Welcome to Brainy Founders channel. Today, we're going to depict one more turn to get into a new world, and this audiobook summary is rather interesting. If you are interested in being good, do not take your eyes off this video. This one is about Good Vibes, Good Life of Vex King, and again, it is considered more than another book on self-help. It's as if he left us a treasure map to find the pot of gold and the power of self-love to live your best life. Chapter 1 Introduction. From the very first chapter of the Good Vibes, Good Life, How Self-Love is the Key to Unlocking Your Greatness, Vex King gives a feel for one with respect to how the book is set. He shares an intimate and personal story, drawing his readers into his own experiences of struggle and growth. Vex starts retelling instances from his past when he was full of adversity, self-doubt, and overall insecurity. He then goes on to describe how, through such adversities, he stumbled upon a realization that would forever change the direction of his life, the immense power that can be harnessed from within once an individual realizes the ability to love and accept oneself. Throughout brutally honest personal anecdotes, Vex King vividly describes the range of emotions he has had to grapple with during this transformation that span from total defeat to revelation and breakthrough in the process of self-discovery. He realizes that maybe many readers relate to feelings not being enough and something should be done. He introduces the central thesis of this book by talking about how self-love is important, not just if one wants to find happiness from inside, but also is the basis upon which one can unlock their full potential. He is pointing out that self-love is not in any way about selfishness or self-indulgence. It is quite the opposite to being basic respect for oneself and showing real care. Vex King shares his own travels in self-love and growth, inviting readers to set out their own paths toward greater self-acceptance and fulfillment. It opens the stage for the following chapters, guaranteeing down-to-earth insights, profound advice, and a great deal of high-flying encouragement for those aspiring to live a life filled with good vibes and positivity. Chapter 2 Understanding Self-Love. It explains how Vex King explores deeper into self-love, breaking the layers down from the surface in knowing what it really means to love oneself, and then goes on to take common misperceptions of self-love and of the word that describes this depth practice. Instead, he introduces the depth practice as one of acceptance, compassion, and inner nurturing. Drawing on personal experiences and lessons learned through self-discovery, Vex King becomes an open book and takes the readers on a reflective journey looking at beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors toward oneself. He will push them to take a look at themselves on what they are doing that blocks them from embracing love that they are worthy of. Vex King walks a person through self-acceptance as a vital action toward loving oneself, since one is meant to accept everything, from perceived flaws to imperfections of all kinds. He urges readers to cancel all standards of perfection and fill that space with kindness to self and understanding. Throughout the section, Vex King intertwines self-love relationships, career, and general well-being. He expounds that if a person develops self-love, it can have this ripple effect that positively influences every aspect of a person's life. He articulates how self-compassion in cultivating self-love enables readers to speak and treat themselves as they would another friend or family member with consideration for their feelings. He includes practical exercises using those commonly utilized in the practice of mindfulness and affirmations. Chapter 3 Self-Awareness. Vex King goes ahead to simplify the basics of self-awareness in his chapter of the love and growth journey, This is attributed to the fact that he starts by giving a definition to the term self-awareness as the ability with which one views his own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without being critical about them. He is challenging them and asking if they are ready to embark on a very tough adventure into introspection. Vex King acknowledges that in goal achievement, self-awareness is a starting point. It helps you understand your ideals, fears, and patterns of behavior. An enhanced level of this awareness can trigger conscious decision-making whereby all developed values and ambitions are pursued. In general, through the following chapter, we are going to deal with practical methods and exercises for the development of your inner world. Structured these exercises might be done in the form of mindfulness practice, prompts written for further journaling, or just a pause for a while sitting in silent reflection. However, each of these activities enables readers to understand themselves better and from within, to provide them with clarity and insights. Furthermore, Vex King explores why developing self-awareness can be the key to freedom from limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns. It is in self-reflection where one can bring this inner monologue to awareness and challenge detrimental self-talk, in the process creating new empowering affirmations and perspectives. As the chapter progresses, Vex King insists on the fact that self-awareness is interrelated with boosting emotional intelligence. If we get used to being in contact with and managing our feelings, then we are going to face the challenges of life thrown at us with resilience and grace. Chapter 4: Mindset Shifts. It is therefore considered a very transformative chapter because here Vex King introduces everyone to the immense radical change. This may be in any area of your life with a changed mindset. He opens his view with the exclamation of how powerful our thoughts are in creating reality, and when one changes his mind, he changes his life. Vex King quotes the research carried out by writers like Carol Dweck to make these identifications between a growth mindset and a fixed one. He shows how these belong to the class that believes they can learn and change, and how these belong to the class that feels they are limited by whatever weaknesses they possess. Encouraging readers through this lens would be to avoid entering circumstances from a no-way-out perspective, but rather one that seeks to embolden circumstances as a chance to grow and develop a sense of resilience. The chapter helps readers from the practical points offered by Vex King, such as resetting negative attitudes, setting up intentions, or giving gratitude a real chance. Therefore, readers can develop happiness and fulfillment in life by making their minds consciously and willingly positive thinking through choice. Vex King tackles self-talk and its relation to mindset. If indeed we are able to hear them, we can challenge these self-limiting beliefs, then take up new affirmations to support of goals and objectives. In addition to that, Vex King tackles the role that mindset plays in overcoming problems and letting go. In other words, with a resilient mind, one will be able to view every challenge just as simple stumbling blocks and push through, for this is definitely the key to success. Chapter 5: Forgiveness and Letting Go. Vex King plunges into one of the hardest things humans can do, but describes its magical power: forgiveness and letting go. He will open by saying that grudges, anger, and resentments only weigh heavy on the heart, do not help enable us to work towards self-love and then eventually peace of mind. Vex King enforces the fact that forgiveness does not either rationalize wickedness or forget the past wrongs. It is just an act for releasing oneself from carrying around baggage of feelings. By forgiving others and ourselves, we make room for creating areas where healing, growth, self-love, and appreciation for ourselves take place. Vex King walks with the reader through this chapter, with his own sharing stories and reflections from his forgiveness journey. It speaks openly of the challenges and joys that one experiences upon really letting go of past hurts, underlining in particular how magnificently relieving and empowering it is to free oneself from the vice grip of resentment. More so, King delves into the profound relationship of forgiveness with self-love, vividly outlining the way feelings of resentment towards others or themselves eat away at their ability to feel worthy and compassionate. Forgiveness helps us to realize our own value and allows us to lead a life filled with love and positivity. Examples might involve journaling prompts, exercises in meditation, or compassionate communication. They do not develop forgiveness passively, as readers actively seek to generate greater inner peace, resilience, and self-love in themselves. Chapter 6: Gratitude and Positivity. Here, Vex King uncovers the power of transformative practice in gratitude and positivity that leads us to self-love and happiness. He first highlights the power of gratitude as a gateway to realizing greater joy, satisfaction, and abundance in life. As Vex King said, gratitude is much more than counting your blessings. It's a way of thinking and being that will enable everyone to be fully in the here and now with complete appreciation for what one has at that particular moment in time. By focusing on what we don't have and what we need and changing to what we have in abundance, it opens up a room for more blessings and good things in life to pour into. Throughout this chapter, Vyson shares deeply personal anecdotes and insights stemming from his own practice of gratitude that illustrated how simple acts of thankfulness can shift perspective and elevate mood. He challenges readers to create their own gratitude practice in various forms each day, from owning a gratitude journal and meditating on the blessings they hold to connecting to loved ones in expressing their thankfulness. Vex King brings the reader along in an understanding of what it means to be grateful and how that relates to being positive, and that a positive attitude will make one better able to cope with life's adversities. Focusing on the positive of everything conditions your mind to notice opportunities for more and ways of transformation in every situation, regardless of adversity. Vex King shares this can be done in very specific ways, like to be grateful and positive towards everything around you, to pick only those things and people that inspire you, and pass on an encouraging hand of kindness to others. This becomes possible only because they decide to consciously develop gratitude and a positive attitude that has an illuminative spread not only for readers but for everybody around them. Chapter 7: Self-Care and Well-Being. In this chapter, Vex King delves into the role of taking care of oneself and maintaining well-being in nurturing self-affection and creating a satisfying life. He starts by defining self-care as the effort to prioritize one's emotional and mental health requirements. Through this perspective, readers are encouraged to embark on a journey of self-pampering and empathy. Vex King stresses that practicing self-care is not selfish or extravagant, but rather an essential base for well-being and personal development. He underlines the significance of setting boundaries, being able to say no when necessary, and giving importance to activities that restore and revitalize the mind, body, and soul. Throughout the chapter, Vex King provides tips and methods for enhancing well-being through self-care. These may include activity, nourishing the body with nutritious foods, ensuring sufficient rest and sleep, as well as engaging in activities that bring happiness and relaxation. Furthermore, Vex King delves into the correlation between self-care and self-affection by highlighting that looking after oneself is an act of valuing oneself with kindness. By making self-care a priority, we acknowledge our worthiness and intrinsic value while nurturing a sense of love and acceptance towards ourselves. Additionally, Vex King discusses the significance of emotional well-being within the realm of self-care. He talks about how important it is to practice mindfulness, like meditation and deep breathing, to develop peace and strength. He also looks into the benefits of reaching out for help from friends, family, or mental health experts when necessary. Chapter 8: Relationships and Boundaries. Vex King shares deep insights as he goes into the exploration of all aspects about relationships dynamics and clearly indicates setting healthy boundaries as a big part of self-love. He emphasizes that from the very beginning, relationships have been powerful influencers for shaping life and identity and for a man's contentment. Boundaries of Vex King must be the framework of a way of interaction with others that perfectly respects our emotional and mental health. He showed that setting boundaries is not throwing people out by erecting walls, but rather it is an affirmation of our requirements and values. This chapter shows exactly how one can set a healthy boundary and stick to it in varied relationships that range from friendships, romantic ties, family, work, and to just anyone. Vex King explains that the greatest practices and elements when setting and maintaining boundaries are based on clear communication, being assertive, and most importantly, respect for oneself. The underpinning or foundation of a healthy boundary, he explains in the same vein, is based on self-love, the source of intrinsic value and self-respect. Only then, as we respect ourselves, keep boundaries, and keep working on personal development, the great relationships could be built true and emotional. For instance, Vex King further clarifies how toxic relations destruct well-being and self-esteem to be defended against harm, stating that it is needful to respond to all defined pointers and take steps protecting oneself. He makes readers aware of listening to one's inner feelings, which advise relationships consciously, so as to make a value-oriented decision that would strengthen the sense of value and well-being. Chapter 9: Purpose and Passion. The writer tries in this chapter to explore the relationship that exists with self-love and purpose and passion. He seeks to demonstrate to readers how one can align themselves for self-discovery and fulfillment in their purpose and passion. In fact, Vex King introduces this chapter with a strong reflection that underlines living for the purpose of one's passions as being deeply aligned with the cultivation of love for one's very sense of uniqueness and personal honor. He emphasizes finding our purpose, which is actually touching base on that which really matters most, profoundly lighting our passion, then harmonizing one's action with that source. In all these, Vex King goes ahead to offer practical ways of helping one unveil and embrace their purpose. This could be reflecting exercises, journal prompts of past experiences and interests, and mine further, hence identifying some connection over and through a sense of purpose. Using practical exercises, he explores the role of passion in fueling our sense of purpose and vitality, challenging readers to drop everything and chase the 3 to 6% life while at it, relying on the belief that we generally go right with our purpose and make a powerful impression in this world. That's the reason Vex King advises readers to chase their passions ardently. Vex King addresses typical impediments to living a purposeful and passionate life, including failure, self-doubt, and social pressures. He provides one with guidance on how to overcome these with a focus on ways that encourage more self-compassion, resilient tenacity, and a growth perspective in pursuing your goals. Chapter 10: Embracing Change. The concluding chapter brings together, in a life-affirming way, invaluable insights on how the embrace of change serves as the very crucible for the making of human transformation and higher self-love. At the very beginning, he quite purposefully emphasizes that the life of every human being undergoes changes without much warning or explanation for these changes. Every person gets a huge opportunity to remake their personality and organize their existence consistent with changes. Vex King writes that most of our resistance to change is based on fear of the unknown or attachment to something familiar. He finds in each change an opportunity for growth and transformation, an encouragement to people who feel like courage is running away from the face of uncertainty. The whole chapter reflects ways, exercises, and insights on how one would sail through the inevitable transitions in life gracefully and with resilience. He invites readers to develop a curious and optimistic mentality that will view change as an opportunity for learning, growing, and becoming more centered within. Below is where Vex King encourages some factors entailed within self-compassion and self-care in the changing days. He mentions how our emotional and mental well-being should be our priority by being kind and gentle with ourselves through the mountain highs and the rock-bottom lows of life. Vex King also relates common fears and resistance that may come with the process of change, for example, fear of failure, loss, or rejection. He advises on how to transform negative beliefs into the right ones and experience a new birth through change. At the conclusion of the chapter, the reader is able to embrace change as part and parcel of this journey in developing self-love, and to learn things that are pivotal in this life, leveraging blessings, embracing change, tuning their thinking and actions, improving habits, and persevering during challenges. Remember, the key to unlocking your greatness lies within you, and Good Vibes, Good Life is here to help you discover it. If you want to read more detail, click the link at description and take the first step towards a life filled with positivity, abundance, and self-love. Have a good one!